From Nixon's $40 million investment in design to Obama's Hope poster and Trump's AI-generated images. U.S. election design battles throughout history, from hand-painted posters to AI memes. Welcome to Two's Studio. There was a time when successful candidates relied on female laborers to hand-color their posters. But today, winning campaigns are those whose graphics go viral, printed everywhere, and shared the most. To explore the origins of modern U.S. campaign graphics, we go back to 1840, when William Henry Harrison ran the first modern presidential campaign. Before this, in the 1700s and early 1800s, many Americans were not fully literate, so candidates relied on cartoons and posters to communicate. When Democrats tried to portray Harrison as an old man in a log cabin drinking hard cider, Harrison's party turned it into a strength. His campaign leaned into this, crafting visuals of a humble, cider-drinking log cabin dweller as a man of the people. This campaign reshaped electoral strategy forever, making visuals and slogans central to winning elections. Many believe that the first American campaign posters emerged during the 1844 presidential election, following the development of the lithographic printing process. These early posters were created using blackline lithography, which was then hand-colored, often by female laborers. Despite the labor-intensive process, these posters found their way into political campaigns and had a lasting impact on voters, resulting in success for politicians, just like the winning campaign posters of Lincoln in 1860 and 1864. As the mid-19th century progressed, rising literacy rates and the growing number of newspapers began to shift political communication. The printed word became dominant, with pins, patches, and stickers gaining popularity. For decades, U.S. presidential campaigns relied on simple, bold designs. With the rise of modern design movements, political posters began to evolve. In the 1930s, during the Great Depression era, Franklin D. Roosevelt's New Deal programs introduced modern, optimistic design elements in posters. These designs promoted industrial progress and national unity. In the 1950s, advances in printing technology enabled the mass production of campaign materials, such as the iconic "I Like Ike" buttons used during Dwight D. Eisenhower's 1952 campaign. These buttons were highly effective and marked the beginning of recognizable, mass-produced campaign symbols. By the mid-20th century, compact design messages were gaining popularity. A shift toward symbols emerged, and campaign designs began incorporating logos for each candidate. In the 1964 presidential election, Lyndon B. Johnson's USA map logo and Hubert Humphrey's HHH symbol captured attention. These designs marked the beginning of a new era in political campaigning, where symbols played a crucial role in quickly and memorably conveying candidates' messages to a broad audience. Presidential logos reflected the aesthetic of their time. For example, logos from the 1960s and 1970s showcased the funkier styles of the era, such as Richard Nixon's 1968 campaign. Nixon had narrowly lost the 1960 presidential race to John F. Kennedy in what was the first televised presidential debate, and had also lost the 1962 California governor's race. By 1968, Nixon's campaign team sought a PR makeover, using the slogan, "Nixon's the One," paired with a logo featuring his face, an approach that was a first in presidential campaigns. This strategy contributed to Nixon's successful comeback and eventual victory in the election. In the early 1970s, Swiss modernism's design principles were adopted by corporate America, evolving into corporate identity design. This new approach was supported by the Nixon administration, which allocated $40 million to a federal improvement program that subsidized the arts, architecture, and graphic design. Designers like Paul Rand, Massimo Vignelli, and Saul Bass were instrumental in shaping this era, creating detailed style guides that established visual rules for companies. This design philosophy was exemplified by the modernized National Park Service and NASA logos, marking a mini revolution in U.S. federal graphic design, transitioning from staid to bold and abstract. In line with this new design trend, Nixon's 1972 re-election campaign adopted a simplified visual approach, prominently featuring a logo with 2 red stars. This strategy helped Nixon win one of the largest electoral landslides in U.S. history, even in the face of Andy Warhol's innovative anti-Nixon poster. In the 1980s and 1990s, after the Federal Graphics Improvement Program ended, presidential campaign designs reverted to a more traditional or less innovative style. During the Reagan era, logos emphasized classic, patriotic visuals. Prior to the 1990s, blue dominated over red in most campaign logos, despite the American flag featuring more red. This was likely due to red's association with communism during the Cold War, prompting designers to tread carefully. In 1992, Bill Clinton's presidential logo introduced a white background with red and blue lettering alongside a red wave. The wave symbolized movement and complemented Clinton's progressive platform. Even as the new millennium began, little changed in the design approach. For George W. Bush's 2004 re-election campaign, the only notable update was the use of italicized text, which added a slight sense of action to an otherwise familiar visual style. In 2008, Barack Obama's presidential campaign brought a fresh approach, both in message and design. His O logo, designed by Sol Sender, cleverly redesigned the American flag into a rising sun, symbolizing hope, which was also the main slogan of Shepard Fairey's Hope poster. This poster blended art history, pop culture, and youth activism into a single bold image. It became an instant cultural touchstone, pushing campaign branding into uncharted territory and drawing in a new, cross-generational audience eager for change. Obama's design team revolutionized the role of graphic design in presidential politics. Before 2008, campaign logos typically relied on simple, overused imagery. After Obama's campaign, however, graphic design became a central tool for shaping a candidate's identity. Reflecting on the design, Sol Sender explained, "The design expression was so constrained and so bland for so many years in politics. I think we had a fresh approach because we'd never worked on a campaign before." But the 2016 election told a completely different story. Donald Trump's campaign was distinct in that it centered around a candidate who had already established a well-known brand, his own name. Trump was a recognized brand, known for his international real estate ventures and a variety of products, from steaks to vodka. Understanding the power of branding, Trump leveraged his "Make America Great Again" manifesto to connect with middle-class voters. The campaign slogan echoed Reagan's 1980 election campaign, and the taste and style of design aimed to evoke that era. In contrast, Hillary Clinton's logo, created by Michael Beirut at Pentagram, aimed to mirror the success of Obama's iconic O logo. However, the minimalist H design elicited mixed criticism and praise. The H couldn't compete with the power of nostalgia and retro. Trump supporters felt that America had fallen from grace and that he was the one to lift the country back up again. In the 2020 election, Joe Biden's campaign featured the Joe design and slogan. Conversely, Trump sought to repeat his previous "Make America Great Again" slogan, but it failed to resonate as effectively this time. The Joe design made Biden appear friendlier to voters by not using his surname, and this approach helped him win the election. In the upcoming election, both parties seem to be repeating their previous visual strategies. The Democrats continue their progressive approach, with Kamala Harris's campaign poster again designed by Shepard Fairey, following the same style he used for Obama in 2008. This time, it seems the Democrats are also tapping into nostalgia alongside their forward-thinking platform. On the other side, Donald Trump's campaign has once again stuck to its familiar visuals, with little innovation beyond the iconic "Make America Great Again" imagery. Interestingly, this election has seen a surge of memes and AI-generated content, some of it considered vulgar or cheap, circulating in support of Trump. Many of these viral visuals seem to originate from his community rather than the campaign itself. Despite being one of the most crucial elections in recent history, with global crises on the line, the visual landscape of the campaigns has been surprisingly stagnant, lacking the creativity seen in past elections. What do you think is the most memorable design in U.S. electoral campaigns? Follow Two's Studio for more videos exploring the impactful world of graphic design.